Hello and welcome back to my workshop. Today I'm making a new video in my series on Christmas markets, Christmas fairs, craft markets, call them what you will. And today's is going to be mainly me talking, I'm afraid, so if that's not your thing, then I'll put a link up here to a playlist of just me making things for the Christmas markets. I made a series of videos, 6 videos I think, last year, all about Christmas markets. They were quite long, they were 10 to 15 minutes each, and it was just me talking. And I know that's not everybody's cup of tea, but they were very much everything that I've learned from doing all the Christmas markets. I covered pricing, stall layout, choosing the right venues, understanding your target audience, who you're trying to sell to, and understanding how much they can afford. I had some really positive feedback on those videos, and they're in a playlist which I'll link to up here because they are quite a useful set of resources. I've rewatched them myself this year, and I don't think I need to cover that same ground because I think I still agree with everything I said in those videos, and I think I pretty well covered most of the aspects. I've had a bit of feedback of people asking to actually watch videos of me making stuff, so quite a few of the videos in this particular playlist will actually be about literally just watching me make the stuff for the Christmas markets, which again is not everybody's cup of tea, and what I've learned is you can't keep everybody happy all the time. So if it's advice that you're after for doing your first Christmas market, Christmas stall, craft fair, whatever anybody wants to call them, then as I say, follow that link that I put up earlier. It'll also be in the description of the video. It's a playlist of 6 videos, quite wordy, 10 to 15 minute videos, but it covers in detail what you need to know to help you do your first markets. So as I said, the first couple of videos that I did in this particular series this year were just make videos, watching me make stuff that I'm going to put on my Christmas stalls. I just thought this week I would have a bit of a wordy explanation type video, because there's a very unique problem that I suffer from, which is I live on an island, so I have a limited number of people that I can sell to. We're less than 100,000 people. By the time you take out children, infirm, you cut that population down even more. Some people just don't like Christmas markets, so you cut them out. And so suddenly you're down to a relatively small number of people, 30,000 maybe, who might come through your Christmas markets. And the problem is that they will probably be the same people who came through last year and the year before. And I recognise a lot of people now who come to my stall. I'm on quite good terms with a lot of them, and I meet them out and about during the year. And one said to me recently, I hope you're going to have lots of lovely new stuff on your stall for me to buy this year. So I can't just make the same stuff every year. I mean, I can, and there's some very good sellers that I will have this year that I've had for the last 2 or 3 years. But 4 years in, I am starting to reach saturation points on some of the things that I sell. So this year's unique problem was to try and think up some new things to put on my stall so that people coming back year after year have got something new to buy from me. And my first step was to go onto Etsy and look at popular wooden gifts. I don't personally have any problem at all looking for ideas on websites like Etsy and even just Google Images. I think as soon as you upload your ideas onto the internet, then they're in the public domain, and as far as I'm aware, there's no copyright issues. And if they were looking to come after somebody, they'd be looking to come after somebody selling on Amazon or something like that, not at a local Christmas market. But as I say, I don't believe that there's any copyright issues with. You can always just take inspiration from stuff on Etsy and just make it slightly differently. And in my case, I definitely sell them very differently because some of this stuff on Etsy is ridiculously expensive. So then, having come up with a few inspirations, I start a Word document, or this year I've actually done a Pinterest board, and every single idea I just add to my Word document or to my Pinterest board. Don't try and think about whether it will sell or not, just stick all the ideas on, and then at a much later date I then go through the Pinterest board and think about how complicated things would be to make. Would that make them uneconomical? Cut it down to a short list and then make a prototype. It's very difficult. You might think it's going to be easy to make, and then when you actually come to do it, it's really quite complicated. So I always make a prototype and try and record how long that prototype takes to make, Obviously, you do things differently once you've worked out what mistakes you made with the prototype, but it's good to get a general idea of how complicated the thing is going to be. Then you can come up with a price and then work out, ask some friends and family. They may think that the price that you think you need to charge is not what they would pay, in which case, okay, it's too complicated, move on. I have got an entire video in the series that I put the link to earlier, which will be down in the description, specifically on pricing and how to decide on your pricing. So if you're interested in that particular aspect, which is quite a fundamental part of having a successful market, then hop over to that series after you finish this. The risk with doing new stuff is obviously you've got no data to tell you how well it's going to sell, no idea at all how many do you make, how many do you take with you. So this is going into the unknown territories for me. I have no idea whether these will be flops or whether they'll sell and I won't have enough, but that's what I'll find out from this year. So I've got a little trinket box with velvet in the bottom, and it's sort of putting trinkets, jewellery, whatever in. I've already done a video on making that one, so that's earlier in the playlist. This was one that I found on Etsy or somewhere like that. It's a little sort of Christmas gnome, Christmas elf type thing. I don't know. I really don't know about that one, so I'll make a few, take them with me. They could be fun. I've got the Christmas angel, which I quite like. I've got two different designs. I've got that one, which is very simple, and then I've got the dual bookend type matching mirrored ones. I'm not so keen on those, but again, I will make some and I'll take them with me and see whether they sell. Then I've got a little elk on the shelf, and I think could be quite popular. The prototype I've made, I've decided that the body needs to be much thicker, so that's my next video to make, or my next make video will be making the real version of this. But I think that could be quite fun. I think it could be quite popular, obviously very Christmassy. It can go on your mantelpiece, it can go on a shelf, but I think it's a bit of fun, so I'm hoping that one might sell well. And then one that's a sort of gift idea. I try and on my stall I have things that are just a bit of fun, people looking to have something new in their Christmas decorations, and I also have some stuff that I hope people can give as gifts. So this is my prototype for a TV remote control tidy. The design change that I'm going to make is, I purely made it like this because these are the pieces of wood that I just happen to have as offcuts from another project that I've been doing. But for the next one, I'm going to take the side all the way from the top here, all the way down, rather than having this tall back. But that could potentially be a bit of a seller, I think, I'm not sure. So really the main take home from today's video that I wanted to put across was that if you're in your second, third, fourth, fifth year of doing the same Christmas market that you've done before, do have a think about the fact that some people will be return customers. And it's not to say, I mean, I make some cheese boards which are fairly unique. They're in the shape of the island, and I've had people who have come back and said, oh yes, I was bought one of these last year by somebody, and I was told that you do the Christmas markets, and they've come back specifically because they want to buy one or two for friends and family. So repeat business is very good, but if it's the same customers coming past, hopefully you'll have a wider pool of people than I have on a small island. But if you're doing the same markets every year, you will get some repeat customers, and you do need to give them something new to look at. So that's really my message for today. One of the things that keeps me awake at night is what's going to sell and what's not going to sell, and you just don't know until you turn up. I had 3 years ago, I made these unique Isle of Man cheese boards, and everybody was buying I do a small, medium and large, purely really because of people's budgets. And I mean, in an ideal world, everybody would want the large one, but sometimes that's a bit too expensive, or I had some people who were posting them abroad and thought the big ones are a bit too big to post. So they went for the medium ones, and I sold out of medium ones quite early on in the markets, and they take too long to make for me to just suddenly rush home and make a load more before the next weekend. So the following year I made lots and lots of medium cheese boards, and I immediately sold out of all the large ones, and people were asking whether ones that were bigger than the medium ones once I'd sold out. Again, I couldn't make any more, so this year I'm going for 50-50, half medium, half large, but I honestly don't know which ones are going to sell. and that is a problem. If your markets, I've got 6 markets in 5 weeks, so I haven't got time to come home, and I can make some small stuff, like I can make some of these small items, but I can't make cheese boards. Take me ages to make. So you just have to take a guess at what's going to sell and what isn't, and how many you're going to sell. And there is no science that will help you with that. If you watch the videos that I made last year, it's even to the extent where we were on a 2-day market and we didn't sell anything on the Saturday and we sold lots on the Sunday. Same market, same stalls, same layout, same stock, same prices. You really don't know what sort of crowd you're going to get until you get there and what they're going to be looking to buy. So if you've got any questions or comments, please leave them down below and I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as possible. If you've got time to like the video, that would be amazing. It helps YouTube to decide what to put on people's playlists. And if you've got time to subscribe to the channel, even better. I'm getting my numbers up slowly, and I'd really appreciate it. And thank you to everybody who's subscribed so far. And in the meantime, till next time, stay safe.